And for high schoolers, they're starting to wind down, but there are still some league championships to be won, and we've got 2 teams tonight vying for one of those championships. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Cat Stadium on the campus of Northview High School. It's the Springfield Blue Devils taking on the Northview Wildcats. Tom Cole is with me. I'm Bill Clark. And Thomas, we've got 2 teams, as we said, still mathematically open for that Northern Lakes League championship, but it will be a tough road to hoe.
Yeah, Billy, you're absolutely correct. Yeah, usually, Billy, when you start the season, there are 3 things that you play for. First, an opportunity to have a winning season. Secondly, an opportunity at a title. And the third thing is to make the playoffs. And both of these teams have some of those things that are possibilities tonight.
We keep finding it every week when we take our cameras around Northwest Ohio. A lot of these football teams have great running backs, and it's Springfield Blue Devils. They're no different than any other. They run the ball behind Jason Nicholas, but on defense, they talk about Phil Rogacki.
No problem. Jason Nicholas, Billy, is a 6'1", 220-pound fullback who's very steady, reliable, and solid, and they're going to really rely on him tonight to show a lot of leadership. And Phil Rogacki is he's an interesting linebacker. First of all, he's going to have his hands full stopping Charles Wynn. We've seen him, but he's a very active inside linebacker. He's more active than a junkyard dog in a butcher shop, Billy.
When you talk about Northview Wildcats on the other side, we'll get to them in just a minute, but Phil DeMars in his second year of the Springfield Blue Devils as their head coach, a much better year this year than they had last year, and Coach DeMars spent some time with Tom and I just a few minutes ago and shared with us what he thought the Devils need to do tonight to get a big win.
Well, the key to tonight's game is to limit the running attack of the Northview and minimize the effects of the kicking game. Their kicking game is very good, and also we want to limit their big plays.
You heard Coach DeMars say at Tom Cole the fact that they need to stop the Northview running game, and when you talk about the Northview running game, you talk about the bus, Charles Wynn.
Well, I tell you what, Billy, you're the best play-by-play man in town, and you very aptly nicknamed Charles Wynn the bus driver, and he does drive the bus, and when he's healthy and things are good with him, he is extraordinarily difficult to stop.
Steve Varick is going to be opening many of the line holes for Charles Wynn tonight, and he's a big boy too.
Well, I tell you what, Bill, Steve's nickname should be Floyd, I think, because he is the wall on the offensive side. He's 6'7", 270-ish, a very big young man.
He's going to be providing some offensive holes for Charles Wynn, but Eric Keller says that the Northview Wildcats need to do more than just run the football, and he shared with us what he thought the Cats need to do to get a win here tonight on homecoming night.
Well, we feel we have to control the ball on the line of scrimmage. We have to keep the ball out of their hands. They've got some good, skilled people. They're quick. And we've switched our offense a little bit, gone more to a power game, and it's worked out real well the last 2 weeks, so we want to keep in that mode and just control the football. Again, keeping their skill kids away from the football so that they don't have a chance to run. We know they're going to option and they're going to roll out and throw the ball, and we want to keep their skill kids off the field. And then special teams. Last 2 years, this game has been won by field position and special teams, so we want to make sure we're in control there too.
All year long, in order to make these telecasts a little bit more interesting for you, Tom Cole uses a lot of phraseology that you may not be familiar with. He talks about the dive, he talks about the smash, he talks about the ISO, and he talks about the sweep. Well, tonight, with the help of our crack statistician, Tom Fitzgerald, who we were able to get away from the concession stand for about 5 minutes, he's going to show us just what those terms are all about.
Yeah, Billy, Tommy Fitz, he's the Dorian Gray of food consumption. He keeps eating, and you and I are getting heavier. First, we're going to talk about the terminology in the run game, and the first play is the dive. The dive is right over the center slot, and what happens is the quarterback will take the snap, do what we call a matador step, where he opens up and gives right over the center position. That's the dive. The next play we're going to talk about is the smash, which is over the guard slot. Same scenario, the quarterback takes the snap, open face step, and takes the ball back to the running back. And for young quarterbacks, it's imperative you take the ball back to the running back so he can make a cut. The next play is the ISO, which I won't reverse pivot because of the camera. The ISO's out over the tackle slot. Same scenario, open face step, and take it back to the running back. The last play is the sweep, which the quarterback will make an open step again and dead toss the ball to the running back.
Well, Tommy's on his way back to the concession stand, and that means Tom and I got to head up to the broadcast booth. Stay with us. The opening kick and the starting lineups are next. It's the Springfield Blue Devils and the Northview Wildcats on TV5 right after this. The Springfield Blue Devils and the Northview Wildcats in the big Northern Lakes League struggle. Both teams come in tonight 3-2 in league play, and there's what Phil DeMars said Springfield has to do.
Yeah, Coach DeMars wants to stop the run, control field position, Billy, and limit the big plays.
On the other side of the coin, Eric Keller's got a few things the Wildcats have to do.
Yes, Coach Keller wants to control the ball, contain the Blue Devil speed, and maintain good field position.
All right, we're ready to get this one underway. The Northview Wildcats will be kicking off. The Ryan Schindler will be putting foot to football, and we will be underway momentarily. And, ooh, a booming kick. Back to the goal line is Joe Ferguson. I beg your pardon, Marquise Hayes with the return, and good coverage right there by the Northview defense. A beautiful night for football here in Sylvania, Ohio, as we will be showing you momentarily the offense that Phil DeMars will be putting on the field, led by quarterback Jerred Schroeder. They'll start things from the 17-yard line, they being the Springfield Blue Devils. Jerred Schroeder, a 6', 175-pound senior. At quarterback, hands off. Thomas, I think based on our tip at the beginning of the game, you would probably call that, what, a smash?
That was a smash, Billy. You're right on it, as usual.
Jason Nicholas, the ball carrier, 6', 220-pound senior. He's the number 2 scorer in the Great Lakes, or in the Northern Lakes League, I beg your pardon. Number 3 in rushing, 751 yards. We're also going to be taking a look at the number 1 rusher in the Northern Lakes League tonight, Charles Wynn. So a loss of 2 on the play, and that brings up 2nd and 12 as Schroeder brings him up over the football. And the give is to Joey Thies. Tailback tries to get outside. Good pursuit by the Northview Wildcats to bring him down. Picks up about 6, so that'll make it 3rd and 4, Thomas, and a pretty good mixture of plays off the get-go.
Yeah, obviously they're going to try to establish the run. It's run first and pass second here tonight, Billy, and really on both sides of the ball, it's run first and pass second. Eric
Keller giving some instructions to his defense as the Springfield Blue Devils have about 4 yards to go before they get to the first down of the evening. Again, Schroeder over center. Split end to the left. In motion, Scott McAfee. And the give over right tackle goes to Mr. Nicholas, and he is stopped, I believe, about a yard short of the first down marker, so that'll bring up the first decision as you see the differential here in the weights as the offensive line for Springfield, 213 pounds versus the defensive line for Northview at 225, and then 227 on the defensive side for Springfield, 243 on that offensive line for Northview, and we've seen them before, Thomas. They are some big boys up there.
Yes, they do, and Springfield, Billy, look for them to run a lot of quick hits, quick traps, quick dives to offset that weight differential.
Nicholas on the 6-yard run picks up the first down, so now it is 1st and 10. The ball is on the 26-yard line. This is Joey Thies, and he is met in the background. How do you do by number 61 for the Northview Wildcats.
61. Joey Thies had the ball. He got caught right in the backfield, so it's 2nd down.
So 2nd and 8 now. Again, McAfee in motion to the left. Nice pitch out. This is Nicholas, tries to get outside. And a nice tackle by Josh Reeby, who will be doing the quarterbacking tonight. Also plays a little defensive back as well.
Yeah, Billy, that was a double wing with motion and a speed option. And what the young fullback will realize with Springfield is that there's a point where you've got to turn that up, and he strung that out a little too long. You watch, you know, he's got to plant his foot and not give the side of his body up and square his shoulders and turn it up. Nice option pitch, however, by Jerred Schroeder. That's tough to do. Looks easy, but tough to do.
Good play right there by Josh Reeby to keep his head in the ball game and get Mr. Nicholas out of bounds. So we've got a hold, though, unfortunately, on the Springfield Blue Devils, so they will have to repay for some real estate they already took care of. And Thomas says that's the kind of thing that drives a coach crazy.
Well, and especially, Bill, when you're a run first, pass second offense personality that Springfield is, and Northview is also. Because now it's 2nd and forever, and they're going to force them to throw the ball down in their goal line.
And when everybody knows you're going to pass, that makes it just that much tougher.
Absolutely.
Matt Hall split out to the right for the Springfield Blue Devils. Nicholas, the lone back. McAfee in motion to the right. Here's Schroeder back to pass. He'll let it fly, intended to McAfee, and it's just off his fingertips. Boy, what a nice pass, though, but just a little too far for Matt Hall to bring down.
Yeah, what they had, Billy, is they had double wing motion, and it was a controlled sprint out where he set up over the tackle hole. And young Mr. McAfee will learn, we've talked about this in the past too, 2 more strides with his arms down, and he runs that ball, he catches that football. He ran 2 strides with his arms out, and it slows him down a little bit. It was a nice ball by
Why do
Jerred
young
Schroeder.
receivers do that? Why do they always think if they get their arms out, they're going to get closer to the football, not realizing that it goofs up their running?
Yeah, it is tough, and it's a coaching point, and he'll eventually get that.
Mr. McAfee in motion again. Schroeder looks, goes over the middle, and it's caught by number 15, Matt Hall, and it's going to be a first down. Nice juggling catch by Matt Hall, a 6-foot, 168-pound junior. All NLL in baseball, but right there, that was an all-league catch, Thomas.
Matt Hall made a great catch. We talk about, extending for the ball and going outside your body to get the ball. His extension on this was terrific.
Great concentration, too.
He goes up at the zenith point of the ball and stretches up and catches it. That's a terrific catch by Matt.
So it's 1st and 10 once again for the Springfield Blue Devils. Ball on the 39-yard line, so they have made up the ground they lost with that holding penalty, and now another flag will hit the football field here at Cat Stadium. Illegal procedure against the Springfield Blue Devils. Harry Johnson, the head official. Our other officials tonight, John Arnse, Rick Gross, Jason Kercheval, and Rob Miner. And as we say in every one of our broadcasts, if that's the last time we got to mention the officials' names, they're the most happy men in the building, because our officials all year long have done a great job keeping control of all the football games, and another stellar crew on the field at Cat Stadium tonight as well. Fast-moving first quarter, 8:25 to go here in the first stanza. The Springfield Blue Devils now at 1st and 15. Ball back now in the 36-yard line. Jerred back to pass. Looking deep for Hall, and it's broken up nicely by Josh Reeby. Thomas might have hung too much air underneath that one.
Well, I'll tell you what, Billy, what they did is they had double wings with a split, motion, sprint out left, and Jerred has a very nice arm, but what he didn't do that time, Billy, is he didn't get his body momentum moving forward with the ball. If you watch him throw here, he throws off his back leg and doesn't get the physics of his body motion going forward. Also turned his wrist over a little bit, and he threw one of those pop-ups. I think if he'd have gotten it out there, they'd still be running.
So 2nd and 15 now, incompleted pass. The ball clock is stopped. Here's a pitch right to Nicholas. And he is going to be brought down. Josh Zernico with a nice defensive play right there. 5'8", 154-pound senior knocks Mr. Nicholas back a few more yards. So again, after a couple plays going forward, we've got a problem with the Springfield offense, and they start going back again, Thomas.
This is a straight speed option, Bill, and a nice pitch again by Jerred. And they've got to get Big 31 running plays where he can get his shoulders squared to the line of scrimmage and going forward. He's had too many catches tonight where he's turned sideways and he can't use his power.
Phil Nightingale also part of that stop on that last play. So that'll make it 3rd and 19, 7.5 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Schroeder over the middle, pass intended for number 32, Joey Thies, but just a little bit behind him. Good defense by Jeremy Bigelow, 5'11", 154-pound junior. So that'll make it 4th down and 19. That is a punting situation, and that means for the Springfield Blue Devils, Mr. Schroeder will stay in and use his leg rather than his arm, as he is the punter for the Springfield Blue Devils. Back deep for the Northview Wildcats, number 3, Mark Nose, and number 23, Jeremy Bigelow. Not a real good kick, but it's going to get a nice Springfield bounce and finally go to rest at about the 44-yard line. So the Springfield offense is stalled. The Northview offense will head onto the field for our first look at them. 7:11 to go here in the first quarter from Cat Stadium, and we are still at 0-0.
Bill, you got to tell you, even though Springfield's personality on offense is run first, pass second, Jerred Schroeder has a nice arm. Very impressive with the arm.
Taking a look at that Northview offense, Greg Catafias, Singer, and Keller on the inside of that line. Tight ends is C.J. Yaki, and then Marcus, Varick, and Chivington, Wynn, Reinbold, and Reeby to round out the Northview offense.
Rusty Reinbold
Reinbold on that last carry gets about back to the line of scrimmage, so that'll make it 2nd and 10.
Number 77 and Spencer Warders, number 73.
Along with Tom Cole, this is Bill Clark. We are at Cat Stadium on the campus of Northview High School. Thanks for making us a part of your night here on TV5 as you take a look at the Springfield defense, the tackles, and there are the ends, Ryan Lewis and Mike Weaver. The linebacking core, Ptaszynski, Brazzil, Rogacki, and Nicholas. And then the backs are Marquise Hayes, Joey Thieves, Scott McAfee. So a lot of two-way players again, Thomas. We are finding that more and more in the games that we cover.
Absolutely, Billy, and that was just power eye right, sweep right, and we've got a hold. It's going to come back, but boy, what power that young man has. That's impressive.
So that's going to cost the Northview Wildcats 10 yards.
Dave Conley, the fine defensive coordinator, Billy, for Springfield, is going to have his hands full tonight stopping this running attack.
Eric Keller now instructing his offense, as you see the numbers on Mr. Keller. Of course, he missed Charles Wynn 2 games in the middle of the season, and both were losses for the Northview Wildcats. Last week, first game back, a 42-0 shutout of Perrysburg. Here's Mr. Wynn again. He tries to get over the left tackle, and he is brought down by number 60. That's Mike Brazzil, a 5'11", 185-pound junior for Phil DeMars.
It's just a misdirection with Charles Wynn. They had the power eye, and they sent him the opposite way of the backs. And, you know, Billy, we've seen so many good running backs this year. You know, but what Charles Wynn has that I've really noticed that differentiates him from a lot of the other backs is he has power with patience. You know, he's patient running the ball. He waits for his blockers to develop. He waits for the play to develop.
Well, when you're 236 pounds, you can wait as long as you want because you can usually pick up those mistakes. Here's a bomb heading out for number 20. Casey Cameron, but a little too high out of his reach, so it'll bring up a punting situation, the first of the night for the Northview Wildcats, and that means that Ryan Schindler will be back onto the field. He'll handle the kicking duties for Eric Keller, and back for the Springfield Blue Devils will be Marquise Hayes, number 6, and number 11, Scott McAfee.
So that was just a quick 2-step fade by Josh Reeve, who showed a nice arm, and actually the receiver needs to run that fade in such a manner that he doesn't run himself out of sideline like he did.
Ryan Schindler, one of the best kickers in the Northern Lakes League, gets off a nice one here. And this is Hayes. Gets through the first line of defense, but then is finally brought down at about the 42-yard line. Credit number 23, Jeremy Bigelow, with the tackle. But another good punt by that man right there.
Excellent spin move by young Mr. Hayes, too, Billy. That was nice. That spin move, he picked up an additional 7 or 8 yards.
So Springfield will go to work on their own 42-yard line. 5:25 to go here in the first quarter. Nothing. And Thomas, all the games we've had this year, this is one of the lower scoring affairs that we've had. Normally there's about 15 points on the board.
Yeah, we're a traveling point machine when we show up there. The scoreboard lights up.
This is Schroeder, back to pass, goes over the middle, way too high. Intended for Mr. Hayes, and it goes off his fingertips. So they will reset things up again. As here at Northview, we appreciate you being part of our copyrighted telecast, and it's presented with the authority of the Buckeye Cable System and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the Buckeye Cable System.
Billy, Jerred Schroeder has a nice arm, and if he just show a little more patience in the pocket and set his feet, he'll find people. There are people open tonight.
He seems to be getting pretty good protection, and I think he might be pulling the trigger just a tad too fast.
Yeah.
Here's a kick out to Nicholas. It's behind him. And the Northview Wildcats have recovered. Nice play right there by the defense. Nicholas reached back for it, but couldn't grab it, and credit number 58. That's Craig Catafias recovering the fumble. You'll see it here, Thomas.
Yeah, Billy, this is just a speed option that Springfield has tried to run, and the problem is there are 2 things wrong with that play, Billy. They got into the quarterback before he could have an opportunity to make a clean pitch, and then the pitch was behind the running back. So
the Northview Wildcats go to work on their 35-yard line. Here is Mr. Wynn, and he bowls his way down to about the 25-yard line, just short of the first down marker.
Billy, that power eye sweep to the short side with Charles Wynn. Just, watch how patient he is when he gets the football. He almost hesitates. He goes into a lower gear, reading the seam in the crease, and then accelerates.
Well, the first break of the game goes to the Northview Wildcats. We'll see if they can capitalize as the give up the middle to Rusty Reinbold. And it gets down to about the 18-yard line.
That was just power eye left, Billy, and they just ran a quick dive to Rusty. And, of course, Springfield's keen on Charles Wynn, and Rusty was open, and probably will be the case the majority of the night.
Now, is there somebody on the Springfield defense whose job is to watch number one no matter where he goes?
Well, I'm sure that they're spying him out. I mean, they have to. You have to match somebody up on Charles Wynn. There's no way that you're not spying him out. They've tied a linebacker to him.
Reedy calling the signals. Here's a cross buck. Nice move right there. Nice run right there by number 34, Phil Nightingale. Doing a little offense tonight for the Northview Wildcats. Normally plays a little cornerback. Carries the ball down to about the 1-yard line. So as they say, the Northview Wildcats are knocking on the door.
Billy, that was a great call by Coach Keller. What he did is he sent Wynn to the right and ran a cross buck counter to the left, and the whole defense went with Wynn. It was a marvelous call.
Power eye left. And they try to go right up the gut with the dive, and it stopped right there.
Billy, I don't think that they can stay. If they get in that power eye and run the short toss sweep to the right here, I don't think they can keep Wynn out of the end zone. I really don't.
Well, we called it for you last time, the power eye, Thomas, and that's what it really looks like.
Yeah, we talked about its power eye right, the lineup there, 2 tight ends and the power back to the right. And, of course, the antithesis of that would be moving the back over and go power eye left.
That's the formation they're in, power eye right. They give it to the power back Wynn, and he is in for the touchdown. Charles Wynn scores from 1 yard out. And the Northview Wildcats on homecoming night score first with a Charles Wynn one-run 35-yard.
I'll tell you what, Billy, Charles Wynn makes it look so easy, and you have to give a number of accolades to the big guys up front for Charles, because they are moving people off the line of scrimmage.
Schindler with the extra point, no doubt about that one, as it lands in the neighborhood about a street over. Nice leg move right there by Ryan Schindler. He crosses the tee, and the Northview Wildcats get the first score of the night here on homecoming from Cat Stadium. It's 7-0, Northview over the Springfield Blue Devils.
Power eye right, and it's really just an isolation right, and Wynn just makes it look so easy, Bill, with that speed and power.
7-0, it's Northview over Springfield. We'll be back with more from Northview Stadium right after this timeout.
Meet Tim Durbin. He's earning the first 2 years of a bachelor's degree at Owens Community College. Although he wasn't the best student in high school, he believes the small classes and caring faculty at Owens helped bring out the best in him. Now he's president of the prestigious Phi Theta Kappa Honorary Society, and he plans to transfer to a university.
Here at Cat Stadium, and Mr. Schindler in as the Springfield coaching staff trying to right some of the wrongs. And Mr. Schindler is going to make sure this ball is not run back as it goes out of the back of the end zone. And Thomas, I'll tell you, we talk about great running backs we've seen this year, but I'll tell you, I am really impressed with some of the kickers we've seen.
We've seen some great kickers, and this young man is certainly probably have a lot of colleges looking at him. He can boom the ball. And, Billy, what an advantage this guy when you can kick the ball out and it's not returned. It's just a tremendous advantage. And the people on the kickoff team love you to death, too, because you don't have to go down and put a header into somebody. So.
To me, if you're going to get a football scholarship, it's just like go as a kicker or get a golf scholarship, because it's the same thing, because I'm sure the coaches say, don't touch that kicker.
You don't
Stay away from him.
You don't touch a good kicker, I guarantee you.
Illegal procedure going to be called against the Springfield Blue Devils as they try to get a head start on that particular play.
Or, Billy, to follow up on your point, you can be a long snapper. They give the scholarships for long snappers in the punts today, too. And they don't get touched. They wear a red jersey in practice, and what a great way to go through college. On a full ride in football, you wear a red jersey, you snap for punts, and you never get touched.
Oh.
And you get a full ride.
That's the way to do it.
It's not bad.
Come out with your face and teeth intact and get a full ride. That works out pretty well. Give us to Thieves, tailback, and he gets it out to about the 15-yard line. So it is going to be 2nd down and still 15. Illegal procedure penalty puts him back 5 yards. Just like we showed him in the pregame show.
Yeah, just a straight isolation right, and there wasn't much. They didn't really get much movement on the point of attack.
So it's 2nd and 15. We break 3 minutes to go here in the first stanza. And a keeper now. Schroeder gets outside and is finally brought down. Good defense right there, Josh Bigelow. Jeremy Bigelow, I beg your pardon, with the initial hit on that play. And good move right there, Thomas. Again, they take a look at trying to cause some problems in the backfield.
It's power eye right, and this is a belly option. You fake the dive, and you come out. Now, see, they're supposed to maintain option relationship. Jerred does a great job running the football, shows a lot of athleticism, and that tailback needs to maintain an option relationship in case he wants to pitch the ball.
So it's 1st and 10 now. Give up the middle. This is Jason Nicholas. Tries to get outside and does, but is finally brought down. Jeremy Bigelow with the initial hit, helped out by Josh Reeby. So, boy, when you get the fullback outside with a little speed, Thomas, that's another weapon. You talk about speed killing.
Yeah, Billy, and that's what we talked about. That was an interesting formation. It's power eye left with a split, and they're running the belly option again. Only this time they give to the fullback, and see, this is the kind of play that this young man should be running. You get his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage, and he can use his power. Look at him. He's squared up and uses his power as opposed to pitching the ball to him sideways.
And he doesn't waste energy going left and right. He's going north and south.
Yeah, look how he's got the ball tucked away. We talked about that, double points.
Here's the give again to Nicholas. Bounces off one tackler and then is finally brought down, number 58 on the hit. That is Craig Catafias. 2:06 to go here in the first quarter as we check out the league standings here in the Northern Lakes League. We told you in the open that Springfield and Northview still in a hunt for the league championship. As you see, Springfield at 3-2, as is Northview 3-2. Maumee, with their first win last week, put a crimp in the Southview championship hopes as they upset the Cougars last week for their first win of the league. So some good balanced football pretty much all the way through the Northern Lakes League, and we've got two of the better teams right here at Cat Stadium. This is Schroeder again, keeps it himself, and they're going to say the ball is down, and the ground caused the fumble. I tell you, the ground should get like a player of the game sometimes, because I think they do more hits sometimes than the defense.
Absolutely, Billy, and the official was right on it. You know, we've had so many great crews. They really do a nice job. That was power eye right with a split, and it was a belly option again to the right, and Jerred's keeping the ball, and he turns it up very nice. But I'll tell you what, one of these times when he pitches it, it is going to be open. That pitch back is there on the belly option.
So it's 3rd and 8. We approach 1 minute to go here in the first quarter. 7-0 Northview. Schroeder. Charles Wynn says, "How are you?" out of my neighborhood, and drops him for about a 10-yard loss. Charles Wynn comes in from the sideline with a defensive play, and pretty much I guess the defensive play was Eric Keller said, "Charles, I want you to tackle the quarterback." And he did just what the coach said, so that means it's a punting situation.
You know what that defensive call was, Billy? Go get him. Coach said to Charles, go get him. You know, his speed is just, you know, so outstanding that he runs down Jerred Schroeder. Jerred doesn't have a chance to run the option.
Schroeder now back to punt. This much better than the first kick. Mark Nose, and he is hit as soon as he gets the football by number 31, Jason Nicholas. Not only does he run the football, but likes to hit people as well, rather than be the hittee all day. He likes to be the hitter. We're going to take a break and come back. 19 seconds to go in the first quarter. Our score, Northview over Springfield at the moment by a score of 7-0.
It took months of preparation, but it's fine.
Quarterback for Northview, as Eric Keller told us, both young men will be getting some time, Mr. Sparka and Mr. Reeby. Sparka was the starting quarterback when we had Northview on with Maumee, Thomas, and then of course he hurt his ankle right at the end of the first half. Josh Reeby came in. Eric Keller was telling me before the ball game, ever since that second half in the Maumee game, Josh Reeby has just been playing great quarterback, and what they're trying to do is to make sure that they have a second quarterback ready to go, so they're working Greg Sparka back into it so that he still has a feel just in case Josh Reeby runs into a problem by a particular night. So,
well, Bill, it's a good problem to have. You have two outstanding athletes who happen to be playing the quarterback position, and the coach is making a nice move because he's keeping both of them active, both of them interested, and if one of them goes down, then they certainly have a youngster that can get the job done.
First quarter is history here at Cat Stadium. It's homecoming night for Northview, and we are going to take a break and come back and get you ready for second quarter action. It's the Northview Wildcats 7 and the Springfield Blue Devils nothing.
Order your art carved class ring now from Allen.
To get started here, the Northview Wildcats start action. And the give is to Mr. Wynn, no surprise. Looking for a hole, makes his own hole and gets up to about the 44-yard line, almost the 45-yard line before he's brought down. That'll be a first down for the Northview Wildcats. And on that last drive that the Northview Wildcats had where they scored the touchdown, Thomas, Mr. Wynn went over 1,000 yards, and he's just adding to it right here.
Yeah, and Greg Sparka does a nice job getting the ball deep to Charles Wynn. And what that play was supposed to be, it was supposed to be isolation left. He got the ball deep to Wynn, and he took it right. And great job.
You're looking at the leading rusher in the Northern Lakes League, and he looks to add a few more yards right there. Nice spin move and gets up to about the 46-yard line. They're going to mark it at about the 47 of the Springfield Blue Devils, almost another first down. Charles Wynn came into tonight's game 995 yards, getting 7.1 yards per carry. Some of these numbers are just amazing, the amount of average yards that some of these young men are getting.
Now, that's absolutely right, Billy. And watch the smoothness by which he runs. I mean, the cuts. Look at how smooth. There's a nice spin move. Everything is smooth and fluid. And then you add the power that he's got.
Now again, they try that cross buck again to number 34, Phil Nightingale, but he's brought down very close to the first down marker, and the officials are going to take a look at it. Harry Johnson eyes it up and says that is a first down, gentlemen, so they will move the sticks. Another first down for the Northview Wildcats. And again, Thomas, when you're keying on somebody like Charles Wynn and all of a sudden they run one of these crossbucks at you, it's tough on the defense.
Billy, we're on the same page exactly. I was thinking the same. You know, Dave Conley for Springfield's got a tough job as defensive coordinator. You have to key on Wynn, and then what they do is they send Wynn one way and bring another back underneath the other way, and he's all by himself.
Here's the give to Mr. Wynn, looking. Oh, check that. Reeby kept the football, faked everybody out. Now he's going down the sidelines, cuts back. We got a flag on the play, and Reeby's going into the end zone. And I would guess where the flag is, Thomas, they're going to be bringing that back.
Yeah, you're going to call a clip on the outside. Young man tried to make a block for Greg Sparka, but Greg Sparka made a phenomenal fake there, Billy. That
sure did.
you talk about appreciating ball handling. He looked like Rex Kern with the 68 Buckeyes there. I mean, that was great ball handling by Greg Sparka. And again, what you talked about, Billy, is what does it mean to ball fake to win? You know,
there's a perfect example. I thought he had the football.
Yeah, just what you talked about.
He did such a great fake. He also I thought he dropped the 1 off his jersey because I had Josh Reeby running down the sideline. So it wasn't number 14, it was number 4, and the senior with a nice job right there, or junior, I beg your pardon, Greg Sparka. So boy, I tell you, that is, as you said, Thomas, that is a very nice little situation to have when you got two quarterbacks like that. But here's the fake.
Just what you talked about, Billy, their fake power eye left. Gosh, what a great fake, you know. And you think that Wynn still has the ball.
5 Blue Devils in there, and they're about that short. As you see Harry Johnson with the signal.
Flag on the play, and it's a mark from the spot of the foul. Brings it back and make it second down and about a foot.
That'll make it second and a foot as they have to bring the touchdown back. But great play by the Northview Wildcats right there. But like you said, Thomas, when you got a weapon like Charles Wynn, that opens up some holes for other people.
Yeah. What a great opportunity, Billy. Second and short right now. Get in the power eye with the double tights and fake the ISO with Charles Wynn up inside and bootleg out. I have a feeling that, you know, you might be walking into the end zone. It'd be a great opportunity for him.
So they run the same thing again, try to cross him up. What do you think? Nope, no fake this time. Mr. Wynn gets the football. And he'll get the first down with a foot to go. You figure that's not going to be too hard to do. So another first down for the Northview Wildcats. The ball now on the 31-yard line. 1st and 10, 10-13 to go here in the second quarter.
Well, Billy, we've got to credit the Northview tough guys up front. I want to tell you what, they are moving the line of scrimmage. Charles Wynn is a great back, but look at that line of scrimmage moving back. You got to give the tough guys up front for Northview a lot of plaudits.
Good look right there at junior Greg Sparka, moving the offense right now for Eric Keller. Here's the pitch back. This is Wynn. Cuts back. Nice defense right there. Number 14, Corey Ptaszynski, comes in to make the initial hit.
Billy, that was just power eye left with a split and a sweep toss left, and I think that time maybe Charles cut back in too soon. He might have been able to get out on the edge and get in the perimeter if he continued to take it outside.
Good tackle by Corey Ptaszynski. Gives up about 100 pounds to Mr. Wynn and was able to get enough of his ankle just to kind of get all that momentum going in one direction to get Charles to the ground. So it's 2nd and 11 now. Here's that fake to Wynn. Sparka rolling right. Dumps it off to Nightingale, and he is brought down. Nice tackle right there at the 20-yard line. Jason Nicholas on the tackle right there, and that was a good pass, and that was a very good way the Nightingale goes up to bring that ball down.
Billy, it was a beautiful fake, and what Greg Sparka did that was so nice is that when he booted out, remember we talked about all season long, he got his shoulders turned and parallel with the line of scrimmage and threw right at the receiver, because remember, your body momentum puts natural lead on the ball. Now watch him get his shoulders squared around, and he throws right at the receiver. He doesn't put lead on it. It was beautiful.
Back to live action. This is Sparka again, having a pretty good offensive series right here, and he rumbles up to about they'll mark it at the 15-yard line. So that'll make it 2nd and 5 as the clock continues to run here in quarter number 2. And while we talk about football here on Friday nights on TV5, little baseball news today as they officially had the groundbreaking for the new Mud Hen Stadium. And our own Teresa Pollock will have an interview at halftime with Shane Heems, who was an Olympic gold medal member, also played a little baseball for the Toledo Mud Hens. So you'll want to stay tuned for that when we get to halftime, which is about 8 minutes away from right now. 2nd and 4, Mr. Wynn. Mr. Short Yardage, and he is knocked down. We'll see where they mark it. Good tackle by the interior portion of that Springfield line, and it is going to be a first down for the Northview Wildcats.
Just a simple isolation left, and again, Charles Wynn. The only thing Charles is going to have to be careful of as he moves up levels, Billy, is that spin move. When he's up inside that interior and he exposes his back to when he moves up to the next level, he's going to have to be careful with that.
So it's 1st and 10. The ball is on the 10-yard line. Here's a give up the middle. Rusty Reinbold tripped up at after about a 2-yard gain.
And that's just a quick dive to Rusty. We talked about that as our great stats man Tommy Fitz displayed the dive to our viewing audience. Hey, a lot of dignitaries at the Mud Hen Stadium opening. Jamie Farr's in town.
Oh,
and,
yeah. That's going to be great when they actually get that built. That's going to be a great jewel for downtown Toledo.
Absolutely. Just a quick dive right over the center, and Rusty lost his footing.
So that's going to make it 2nd and 6 for a second Northview touchdown. As we continue to be your homecoming station here on TV5, our 3rd week in a row, we've been able to participate in homecoming festivities. Anthony Wayne last week, it was Waite. Tonight, it's Northview. Here comes Mr. Wynn, the scoring machine, puts the pedal to the metal and is denied. Great tackle right there by about 9 of the Springfield Blue Devils, and they were not going to let Mr. Wynn get into the end zone. Great power right there by Charles Wynn, but great defensive pursuit by the Springfield Blue Devils.
Yeah, what we've got here, Billy, is power eye left with a split, and it's a sweep. And, Charles Wynn is just so elusive and smooth, and then look at his legs pumping with the power. One thing that Charles will learn, here he is, the sweep toss. One thing he's going to learn is when he moves up to the next level is when the defense converges on him, he needs to drop that shoulder because he's going to set himself up for some real tough shots.
See right here, he finally gets his legs driving. And how many Springfield Blue Devils are there?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here comes the 6th one. Here comes the 7th one to finally bring him down. But all it did was hold off the inevitable, because on the very next play, the Springfield Blue Devils couldn't stop Mr. Wynn. He goes in for his 2nd touchdown of the night, and that makes it 13-0 now with the extra point coming. This is Schindler, and once again, he crosses the tee. It makes it 14-0. Greg Sparka, we beg your pardon, was the last person who will get credit for that last touchdown. Some great runs, and here, Thomas, he'll sneak it in.
Yeah, and all he did was pick the crease, a smart move by Greg Sparka. You know, Northview's got a real luxury, Billy. They have 2 outstanding quarterbacks.
There you see the numbers. Northview 14, Springfield nothing. We'll be back with more. See Steve Varick. We highlighted him in our open. 6'7", 290-pound senior. And Eric Keller calls him the most improved player on the team. He was injured all last year. Thomas lost a whole year, but has come back this year with a vengeance.
I wouldn't call him anything. I'd be scared to death.
Call him Mister.
To be honest with you, I'd park his car, do whatever he needs done.
So with 6:21 to go in the first half, Ryan Schindler will again see if he can put one into the end zone. This one's a low line drive kick. Picked up by McAfee, or Ptaszynski, I beg your pardon. And he is wrestled to the ground. They're going to mark it at about 20-yard line. Corey Ptaszynski with the return, 5'9", 143-pound junior. So that's where the Springfield Blue Devils will go to work to try to get on the scoreboard. They are 80 yards away from Nirvana.
Billy, I'll tell you, being a kick returner is it's a tough way to make a living. I want to tell you, you run up inside that, and they've got all the wedge runners running down at you, and it's kind of tough.
You like to run with a target on your back, be a return man. This is Schroeder back to pass, being pushed out of the pocket. Now tries to make something happen himself, and he runs into Bryce Bookmiller, 6'1", 187-pound senior. But a good move right there, Thomas, when he had nobody open rather than try to throw something that's not there.
Well, we always talk about, Billy, sometimes for quarterbacks, the most important pass that you make is the one you don't throw. You know, you pull it down, or you throw it away, or you eat it, and you allow your team to come back and make a play. And Jerred showed excellent escapability there. He really did.
So he picks up 5 as we approach 5.5 minutes to go here in the second quarter. McAfee in motion. Give up the middle. Jason Nicholas with the ball.
You know, Billy, that didn't garner a lot of yardage, but those are the kind of plays that Jason needs to run, because, again, his shoulders are square to the line of scrimmage, and he's moving forward. Early in the game, they ran him a lot of that speed option, pitching the ball to him sideways, and it negates his power.
Jason Nicholas, the 3rd leading rusher in the Northern Lakes League, comes in tonight with 751 yards, 6.5 yards per carry. So he knows what to do with the football when he gets it from Mr. Schroeder. Here's Marquise Hayes swinging right, and he is met by Bryce Bookmiller and also Casey Cameron on it as well. So that'll make it 3rd and 2.
And you're getting another look at Charles Wynn, and again, Billy, the power and the ease. Now watch, he does run straight up here at the end, and he lets all the Springfield people get into his body. And when he goes to the next level, they will teach him to get down and deliver a blow with the shoulder, because when you move to the next level, you stand straight up, you're going to get hurt.
Kind of like a magnet for white jerseys right there. Well, what was that, 7 guys to finally get him down? But I tell you, that's the kind, when you say, Thomas, he keeps his legs moving. If he stops his legs, he's down,
right,
5 yards sooner.
The Springfield kids are doing what they're taught to do. That's the only way you can stop a great running back, is by committee, and that's what they're doing.
So a big call for Phil DeMars right now. It is 4th and less than a yard. The ball is on the 30-yard line, and the Springfield Blue Devils are going to go for it.
Give Coach DeMars a lot of credit for this call. It takes a lot of guts. That's nice.
So play offensive coordinator, what's going to happen here?
Well, I'll tell you what, I like the big guy up quick inside. He's powerful.
Well, the big guy happened to be Jerred Schroeder, quarterback sneak, and he does get the first down. So a gutsy call by Phil DeMars pays off with that quarterback sneak. So a first down for the Blue Devils. 4:19 to go here in the second quarter.
And I think what they did there on that play too, Billy, is I think they went silent count, which means the quarterback just taps the center and the center snaps it, because nobody else really moved off the ball that quickly, and it caught the defense by surprise.
The officials are talking things over. We've got an official equipment timeout as they tend to one of the Northview Wildcats. At this time, we want to take a moment to thank both Al Duquette and Phil DeMars, the athletic director and coach over at Springfield, along with Larry Jones and Eric Keller here at Northview, for helping us with our preparations for tonight's game from Northview. We thank them all for their help, as we have with all the athletic directors and coaches we've dealt with here on TV5 all season long. It's made our job a lot easier. And a cross up in the backfield, Jason Nicholas going to get called for illegal procedure. McAfee was okay on the on the motion, but Mr. Nicholas said, I think I made a mistake.
Billy, if we were in Saskatchewan, that would have been all right. Saskatchewan Rough Riders, you man, people moving right, left, and all over the place. That's the one thing I like about Canadian football.
So they're going to penalize the Springfield Blue Devils 5 yards. That'll make it 1st and 15 now. Ball starts on the 26. 3 and 40 and running here in the second quarter, along with Tom Cole, Bill Clark from Northview Stadium, Cat Stadium to be precise, in Sylvania, Ohio. This is Schroeder looking deep, going that way. He's got Matt Hall, and it's knocked out of his hands. Good defense right there by number 23, Jeremy Bigelow. And once again, Jerred Schroeder showing some nice arm strength and just maybe an inch or two away from making a long completion.
Yeah, what's impressive about Jerred on that is there was a lot of pressure on him. He stepped up inside the pressure, and somebody's actually grabbing him from the back, but he still got enough power to get the ball out there while someone had made contact with him. The young man from Springfield needs to go up a little quicker, and he takes that ball away.
Matt Hall, the intended receiver, as we said. So with 3:27 now to go, the clock stopped with the incompletion. Schroeder gives up the middle. Corey Ptaszynski with the carry over the left guard.
Billy is just a double wing with a split and a motion, and they tried to run a quick trap inside. Again, trying to offset the bigger Northview defense.
Can't read my own writing. I want to make sure we say Corey's name right. It's Ptaszynski, as I was told, so I beg your pardon on that last call. But in any case, a nice run by the young man. 2:54 and running here in the second quarter. High school football on your home for high school football all season long. TV5 and the WB, thanks for making us a part of your night here. Schroeder, quick hit over the middle. Nice catch and run right there by number 15, Matt Hall. Boy, I tell you, Schroeder's got a gun when he gets back there and gets a little time to set up.
You know what he did, though, Billy? He set his feet, and he had his feet set, and then he delivered the ball with that body momentum. And Matt Hall, that was a textbook catch as far as extending your hands. Now watch, he gets his feet set, gets his body momentum forward, and the hand extension by Matt Hall going outside his body to get the ball was terrific.
So Matt Hall and McAfee both doing a nice job on the receiving end of these Schroeder passes. It's 1st and 10 now. Ball's on the 46-yard line. Schroeder will try another cut. This is Matt Hall, but this time Thomas started to run before he really corralled the football.
Billy, that is absolutely it, and that's what's so exasperating as a coach. Matt had just made a marvelous catch just a second ago, and then this one off of a sprint out, it was just a little turn inside, and it was Jerred threw an excellent ball, numbers high, and Matt took a little peek. And when you take a peek in football, you usually drop it.
So with the incompletion, it makes it 2nd and 10. Hall now split to the right. Nicholas, the lone back behind Schroeder. Here's that cross buck play again. Marquise Hayes with the run.
I'll tell you what,
he
Billy.
Picks up about 3.
They had to look at going back to that sprint out to our side and that little turn in to Matt Hall. He was wide open on the turn in. I think they might be concerned about his speed, and the DBs are playing off of him, and he can run a streak pattern, run a fade pattern, and curl it back inside into that open seam.
So the Blue Devils will take it 3rd and 8. Ball on the 49-yard line. 1 and 45 and running here in the second quarter. There's that quick hit again. This time Hall catches the football and gets another first down as he is brought down at about the 42-yard line. And again, that's going to be wide open until somebody does anything. Now, if you're the defensive coordinator for Northview, how do you take that away?
Well, you're gonna bring somebody up on the inside, and then the converse is going to happen. What Springfield's going to do is they're going to run Matt Hall on that quick slant and then take him to the corner on a fade. This is
so
a nice
pump fake
ball.
this and then take off.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was thrown just a little bit behind him. And you see how Matt Hall twisted his body back to catch it? It's a great job.
Good receiver, Matt Hall, a 6', 168-pound junior. Twins to the right now as the Springfield Blue Devils look to get into the end zone. This is Schroeder, puts a little air into this one, and a little too far for Scott McAfee to pull down, but we've got some laundry on the field, and we'll check that out when the officials confer.
Billy Matt Hall jumped. He was anxious to get into the pattern. It happens to the receivers sometimes, and he jumped too soon.
Well, we'll find out if that is a drive breaker, because the Springfield Blue Devils are going to have to take an extra right here in your living room. Sit back and enjoy this one. Oh, we got to tell our camera guy down there to make sure he knows how to catch the football.
Oh, I like that. Football's coming right into your homes. That's great.
And they say that we don't keep football interesting here on TV5. What a nice job.
Only wish it had been Tommy Fitz that got KO'd.
There he is right there, Josh. Say hi to the fans at home. He's still alive, Mom. If you're watching, he did survive.
He's not even bruised up. I don't know.
I think he learned that Matador Olay thing.
The Olay,
that you saw that in the pregame show. I think he was watching that.
We have terrific people.
Yes, we do.
Larry
Great
Jackman
crew.
and his crew just do a fantastic job with the camera shots.
107, a 1st and 15. The ball on the 40-yard line. Schroeder pushed out of the pocket, throws it down over the middle. Oh, and it can't be caught by Marquise Hayes. That was another, not reading his mind, Thomas, but it almost looked like Marquise went up and wanted to get back on the ground fast enough to start running and forgot the football.
You know what happened there, Billy? They had bunch trips left, and they did a little Kansas City half roll to the left. Jerred set his feet, threw back against the grain, and what Marquise did is he jumped one stride too soon. If he would have taken another stride, the ball would have dropped right into his chest.
You know, I feel like I'm doing these games with George Perot. We've got the Delaware wing tee. Now we're out in Kansas City doing this other thing. I feel like we should have some travel agency be one of our major sponsors here. So it's 2nd and 15, almost 63 ticks left to go here in the second quarter. A very exciting first half here from Northview as Schroeder brings him up over the football, swings out right, looks out for Mr. Wynn, throws it up just a little bit too high for Scott Hall, but he paid the price as Charles Wynn tattooed him from behind on a clean hit. When you give Charles Wynn a free rein at the quarterback like that, I think Mr. Schroeder might ask a couple of his offensive linemen, I'd like to talk to you for just a minute.
Yeah, you say you want to be a quarterback. You know, sometimes it isn't so pretty, but this was a quick half roll to the left. Jerred really, he didn't really get a chance to get set or take the time that he wanted to take on the throw.
Well, if he heard footsteps, I don't think anybody would berate him for that as Charles Wynn was bearing down on him. But tough call right there, 59 seconds now, 3rd and 15. Schroeder again, back to pass. Flushed out of the pocket and picks up about about 8 yards. Gets down to about the 34-yard line as the clock continues to run. 4th down now.
Jerred's very athletic, Bill. He really has excellent escapability. He does a sprint out left again. He's looking. He doesn't see anything, and he sees a crease up inside, and he takes it back up inside, and very athletic escapability.
Springfield wants to talk it over. They have called timeout. 41 seconds to go here in the second quarter. And as we said, stay with us at halftime. We will have an opportunity to talk to Shane Heems, one of the Olympic gold medal pitchers. But first, we'll take a break and come back with more high school football for you on TV5. It's 14-0 Northview over Springfield.
Under construction.
Northview Wildcats over the Springfield Blue Devils at this moment, 14-0. But the Springfield Blue Devils and Coach Phil DeMars have a big play coming. It is 4th and 8. And play offensive coordinator for me, Coach. What are you going to run here?
Well, Coach DeMars has done a great job mixing the plays up. But I think you got to sprint Jerred out, and you got to look for a turn-in. The turn-ins have been open, that 12, 13-yard turn-in or curl.
Well, let's watch along with you at home. There's the sprint out. There's the pass down. Nice catch by Matt Hall. Ball was behind him. Matt Hall came back and looked like he had stickum on those gloves, Thomas. What a great catch.
Just kind of what we talked about, Billy. We ran the sprint out, the half roll to the wide side, and Matt Hall turned into one of the seams. And boy, I'll tell you what, I have not seen a young man other than the Maumee youngster, Kevin O'Shea, that extends their hands. Remember we talked about tweezering the ball and extending your hands outside your body? Boy, Matt Hall does that beautifully.
Plenty of yardage for the first down, 25 seconds. So now the clock is not being very friendly with Springfield as they've got to get up over the ball, and seems like they're taking a little too much time here, but we'll see. Here's Schroeder again. Tries to get outside, and he's going to be brought down at the line of scrimmage with 7 seconds. And they call timeout, they being Springfield, with 6 seconds to go. So we'll see if that means Ben Gutek comes in for a field goal attempt, or if Phil DeMars says, let's take one more crack at the end zone.
Well, Billy, you called it, very appropriately. The hurry up wasn't quick enough. They just didn't, they let 10 seconds or so go by that are real valuable. They just didn't do it fast enough.
And you got to believe Northview knew they were going to pass, so they were bringing all the horses.
Yeah.
And good defense right there and a good tackle. Craig Catafias, one of the Northview Wildcats, on that tackle.
And that's a play, Billy, really where Jerred needed an outlet receiver on the sideline where he could just throw the ball away instead of, eating up that time on the clock. And, what you've got here, I think you've got a fade situation here, Billy. You put, Springfield's got a couple of very good receivers. You put a Matt Hall in a fade, let Jerred take a 2-step drop and throw the fade up into the corner.
Well, this is where they're setting up. They got twins to the right. And the Northview Wildcats are going to be coming. This is Schroeder, throws it too short, but only 3 seconds go off the clock, so they'll have time for one more play. That pass just a little too short right there.
Well, Billy, I'll tell you what, if they go back to the same formation and run Matt Hall on that slant, skinny post, whatever you want, a soft post, and influence the post and take him out to the corner so you run a post corner, I'm telling you what, there's no safety help over the top. He'd be by himself.
Put a little air underneath it, let him run right underneath
absolutely,
it. Okay.
Absolutely.
We shall see. This will be, barring a penalty, the last play of the first quarter. The Springfield Blue Devils eschewing the field goal, and now they're going to call timeout. They're still not convinced that is the right play as they sent trips out to the right. We're going to take a break. We'll come back and see how the first half ends. Right now it's 14-0. The Northview Wildcats over the Springfield Blue Devils. Will continue on TV5 and the WB right after we take this timeout. Said they were going to send bunch trips to the right, and they're doing that again, but they're going to send Mr. Hall out to the left by himself. So as we said, barring a penalty, this will be the last play of the first half. Quick pass over the middle. This is Hall, and he's stopped on the 1-yard line. Great defensive play by number 10, Josh Zernickel, and the first half comes to a close. The Northview Wildcats hold on, and they still hold a shutout over the Springfield Blue Devils. A great defensive stand by the Northview Wildcats and a great offensive run by the Springfield Blue Devils. But we have reached intermission here from Cat Stadium. We'll be back in just a moment. We'll have a conversation with Shane Heems as you see the final play of the first half, and a great tackle right here by Josh Zernickel.
Yeah, and Billy, they got part of what we were talking about. If you run him on the soft post and then take it to the corner, there was no safety help there. He'd have been all by himself.
Bunch of happy Wildcats after that play right there by the Northview defense. We'll be back. Shane Heems will talk to our Teresa Pollock. He's an Olympic gold medalist baseball player. Our halftime score, Northview 14, Springfield nothing. We'll be right back. And he is plowed under at about the 25-yard line. So that's where the Northview Wildcats will start their first possession here in the third quarter. Charles Wynn onto the field. And we will see that, Greg Sparka will start from the signal calling position for Eric Keller. Charles Wynn, as we told you in the first half, went over 1,000 yards for the season. At halftime, 10 carries, 52 yards for the driver of the Northview bus, we'll call him. 14-0. Thanks for taking some time to join us here on TV5 and the WB. The third quarter just underway. And here comes the aforementioned Mr. Wynn, and a nice tackle by his opposite number, Jason Nicholas, doing some running for Phil DeMars on the offensive side. But right there, the linebacking of Jason Nicholas brings Mr. Wynn to the terra firma.
Yeah, Billy was just power eye left, sweep toss to the short side, and Springfield played it very well. And that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to be aggressive and committee tackle Charles Wynn.
Casey Cameron wide to the left. Here's the give again to Mr. Wynn over right tackle. Keeps those legs moving and buried under a sea of blue and white. Pick up probably about 3 yards on the carry, so that'll make it about third and 6, I beg your pardon, as you'll see Mr. Wynn with that power off the right side.
Yeah, Billy, that was power eye right, ISO right, and you know, he's just picking his crease and using his power, and he's got to be careful not to turn that back into the line of scrimmage. I'm telling you that he's going to have to avoid that habit.
Power eye right, Cameron again, split left. Fakes the crossbuck. This is Sparka rolling out, decides to keep it, has the first down and a few more yards. Nice run right there, brought down by number 11, Scott McAfee. And a good run right there by Sparka. He's really kind of keeping him off balance. Yeah,
Sparka's a very athletic young man, and you give Coach Keller a lot of credit with the play execution. That was a very nice execution, and fake of the crossbuck, left, boot right, and Sparka comes out, and he can run.
So a fresh 4 downs for the Northview Wildcats. Sparka hands off to Wynn, and he bowls his way back for about, they're going to give him a yard on that one, so we'll call it 2nd and 9. Thanks for taking time to join us here on TV5 and the WB. One more game for you in our regular season coverage of high school football. Next week, we'll head over to UT's Glass Bowl, and Tom and I have the pleasure of calling the St. Francis Knights St. John Jesuit Titan ball game. Talk about rivalries in Northwest Ohio, Thomas. They don't get much bigger than that.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that.
You played in a couple of those. I'll be interested to pick your brain during that ball game, because I tell you, talk about emotions running high.
Yeah, it's a fun time.
2nd down, 9 yards to go. This is Wynn again, and again, good tackling by the Springfield Blue Devils. Credit Corey Ptaszynski on that initial hit with the help of some of his friends, and Mr. Wynn continues to pick him up 3 and 4 at a time, but he's not getting that big breakaway run, Thomas, that we saw him get against Maumee earlier in the season.
Yeah, you know what the difference is, Billy, is the defensive interior for Springfield is not being pushed back like they were earlier in the game. They're holding their ground, and Charles Wynn doesn't have the kind of creases he had early in the game.
You got an offensive line, or a defensive line, I should say, for Springfield at 227 pounds and an average, and the offensive line for Northview 243, so not that big of a disparity, and it's being played pretty evenly so far. Here's Sparka, squares his shoulders, dumps it off to Reinbolt, and he makes the catch and gets up to about the 44-yard line, brought down by number 6, Marquise Hayes, cornerback for the Springfield Blue Devils. Nice pass right there, Thomas, and again, I'll tell you, nice job of squaring those shoulders. I'm learning so much from you this year.
Well, you know, it was, again, a good execution. Their coaching staff deserves credit. They fake that crossbuck, come out, Sparka rotates his shoulders. And, you know, Billy, he's wearing one of those shoulder harnesses, I can tell by experience that, where they hold your shoulder down in place, and he's really doing a great job with that harness on.
Nice fake, dumps it off to Phil Nightingale, but he can't hold the football. But I tell you, Eric Keller showing a lot of different offensive sets tonight against the Blue Devils.
Well, Billy, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, you know, you've got to use Charles Wynn in the play action. You know, do a lot of faking, the crossbucks. Again, using the threat of Charles Wynn, and you know, Greg Spark is an outstanding quarterback. I mean, he handles the ball very well. He's gifted. He can run, and I'm impressed with his ability to throw the ball with that shoulder brace on.
So 2nd and 10 on the incompletion. Here's Mr. Wynn, bounces outside, bounces off a couple tacklers, gets down the sideline, and is finally run out of bounds. And credit number 48, Ryan Lewis, with the initial stop there, getting Mr. Wynn to get to the sidelines.
Well, Billy, to give you an idea of the kind of power that Charles Wynn has, this is just isolation left, and look who he runs over. He runs over Jason Nicholas, which, you know, he's a big, strong young man at 6'1", 230 pounds. So that, you know, Charles Wynn is deceiving because he is so fluid and he is so elusive. He's got a lot more power than you realize. Look at that, tremendous power.
We're going to take a break. 8:40 to go here in the 3rd quarter. The Northview Wildcats on homecoming continue to lead the Springfield Blue Devils. Our score, TV5. Back to live action. Here's a give up the middle. A lot of banging going on, but number 34, Phil Nightingale, picks up about, a half a yard or so. So that'll make it 2nd down and 8 yards to go. Ball is on the 27-yard line of the Springfield Blue Devils. And Thomas, how important of a defensive stand is this for Springfield at this juncture of the ball game?
Oh, Billy, you hit it. That's the salient point. They have to keep him out of the end zone here. If they allow Charles Wynn to get in the end zone here and they go down 21-zip, that's going to be real tough to overcome.
Takes the inside handoff, and Sparka gets strung out very nicely by the Springfield Blue Devils. Phil Rogacki, we highlighted him in our pregame show, Thomas. He was one of the first men there to make the hit.
Yeah, we called him the junkyard dog in the butcher shop, Billy. But you know what Greg Sparka did wrong there? They ran a speed option to the wide side, Bill. And a speed option, you can't string it out that long. You notice how far he strung it out to the sideline? When it's not there, you've got to turn your shoulders and just cut up and get what you can get.
Well, I talk about honesty. We talked to some of the kids before the ballgame, asked them to tell us a little bit about their personal lives, and I asked Phil Rogacki what he wants to do as far as college, and he goes, I'll go wherever I can get a scholarship. Makes sense to me.
Absolutely.
Here's the pitch to Charles Wynn, and he is knocked pretty down at the line of scrimmage, so that'll make it 4th down, but with 5 yards to go and Charles Wynn in the backfield, you got to believe they're probably going to go for it here.
You know, and also what Charles will work on when he goes to the next level, Bill, and that is, you watch this on the sweep toss, he made the cut too quick there. If he would have continued to try and take it out to the edge with his speed, I think he could have turned the corner.
Northview wants to take a timeout. This is a very big play in this particular series for them. It's 4th and 5. The ball is on the 25-yard line, so Eric Keller brings his offensive chargers over, and Phil DeMars will have a conversation with the Springfield Blue Devils. And Phil DeMars doing a nice job with the Springfield Blue Devils. Last year, 2-6. Right now, 6-2. So he's turned it over. So congratulations at this moment to the Springfield Blue Devils. We'll take a timeout. It's 14-0. Tom Cole with you. Greg Sparka barking signals for Eric Keller. Fakes the cross buck. Tries to get outside and does for the moment. Squares the shoulders. And is going to pick up about 3 or 4 yards. And it looks like they're going to mark it at about the 19-yard line, which will should be enough for a 1st down.
Well, you know, the play that really Springfield hasn't been able to stop all night long with Northview is they go double tights, they get in the power eye, and either they run an isolation with Wynn or they run a sweep toss with Wynn. And I think if Northview does that now a couple of times, I think Charles Wynn will be standing in the end zone.
So a fresh 4 downs for the Northview Wildcats. Casey Cameron split to the left, power eye right. Fakes to Reinbolt. Now the give is to Reinbolt. Such a good fake, he ended up giving it to it. Josh Reeby back in quarterbacking at the moment for the Northview Wildcats.
Just a power eye right, Bill, with a smash, a little wider seam out over the guard. And again, I just think if they'll just either sweep toss the ball out of the power eye to Charles or give it to him out of the isolation. Yeah, they're looking at is that his shoulder there?
Looks like they might be checking out Greg Sparka's shoulder. Of course, he dislocated his shoulder earlier this year. Here's the give to Rusty Reinbold, and he is met by the interior of that Springfield line. 6:17 to go, 14-0 right now. Northview over the Springfield Blue Devils here on TV5.
Yeah, that's a nice job. Yep, he's carrying out the option fake, and they make the smash, and the quarterback does a nice job with the continuation of the option fake.
We break 6 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, a scoreless 3rd quarter at this point. Still 14-0, Northview over the Springfield Blue Devils. Sparka. Here's an interception. Sparka gets it picked right off his hands. Number 73, Spencer Waters, and he is brought down by Greg Sparka, and what a great play by Spencer Waters. He pretty much went back, and when Greg Sparka pump faked, Waters was right there to pick it out of his hand.
The big man looked like a Zeppelin headed downhill. I want to tell you, that was impressive.
That'll go on his highlight tape. I'm sure his family will take a look at that one. What a great defensive play. And we talked about how important a defensive stand right there for the Springfield Blue Devils is supposed to be. And boy, I tell you, that's a great way to stop it right here. Watch his pump fake.
Sparka fronts out. He's trying to throw a quick slant. You know, that's great hands. For a big man with the gloves on to be able to bat that and catch it, terrific hands.
Here's the give to Joe Thies with the run.
You know
here.
how hard this ball's coming out, Billy? He blocks it, which is so great, and then catches it into his body. That's
and it's a foot race, and you figure at this point, at 255 pounds, he's going to get run down by Greg Sparka. But what a great play by Spencer Waters, a 3.0 student. And right there, he was kind of hoping he had 4.4 speed, but good hustle by Greg Sparka, and a great play by Spencer Waters. And the Springfield Blue Devils are in business at the Northview 40-yard line. Here's Schroeder's. We're going to have a holding call, and we also have another flag coming in, so maybe it's going to be 2 holding calls as Schroeder got flushed out of the pocket, Thomas, and a lot of times when the flag starts heading in that direction, you figure it's going to be holding.
Yeah, I know one of them's holding. Both of them are holding. They faked the crossbuck and booted out left, and
Tim Smith up here in the booth with us, worked at Northview and spent some time with Thomas and I at St. John's, and said that looked like, what, the quarterback chasing him, Tim, or the fact that throwing that interception?
No, the big man rumbling down.
We know how fast Tom used to run, except that when there was food out. Then his speed increased immensely. But
oh, it's great seeing Coach Smith. What a fantastic basketball coach, and more importantly, a great teacher. It was wonderful to see him tonight.
Great guy. I had a chance to play basketball for Coach Smith. Matter of fact, I was on his first team at St. John's, which is kind of telling how old we both are, but he's a lot whiter haired than I am. But I'm catching up. I'm catching up.
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, that's right. You shouldn't.
I think you both look great.
So that's going to push Springfield way back on the holding call. They're back now to the 43-yard line of the Northview Wild, or their own 43-yard line, I beg your pardon. McAfee in motion. Schroeder in the pocket. Going to go for it all, looking for Hall, and it's a little too far.
You know, Billy, you had called it earlier in the night. Jerred Schroeder has a nice arm, and when he gets his feet set, he throws a nice ball. What they need to do in the passing game for Springfield, everything they run Matt Hall on has been that skinny post, soft post down the middle. I'm telling you, Billy, if they send him on the post influence and break him out to the corner, he's going to be standing all night long. It's been soft post, skinny post. Make a post influence and break him out to the corner, and there's no safety help back there, so he's going to be by himself.
And Schroeder has proven all night that he's got the arm strength to get it there.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll see if the coaches pick that up for Springfield. Right now, with 4:55 to go in the third quarter, the Springfield Blue Devils looking to get on the scoreboard for the first time. McAfee again goes in motion. Here's a fumble on the snap, but Schroeder gets it back. Is able to turn the corner and takes the hit without stepping out of bounds. What a great play right there by Jerred Schroeder, and he's finally brought down to the ground by number 62. That is Bruce Rang, the nose guard for the Northview Wildcats. And I tell you, he made chicken salad out of something that could have been a lot worse right here, Thomas.
Yeah, what happened is I think 2 things are possible. Jerred either pulled out too soon, or one of the interior guards blocked down and jarred the ball loose from him. There we go. But he
good set of hands right there.
Picks it up and turns the corner and makes it a positive football play out of a negative one.
And here's at the end of the play, which is amazing. He ends up taking a hit when he could have just stepped out of bounds. So credit him for that play, but unfortunately it's going to be all for naught.
Well, I tell you another thing, Billy.
I beg your pardon, it's just delay of game. They're going to lose 5 there.
You know, somewhere down the road in this mix, if Springfield would run a screen, Northview is coming pretty hard at him up front. They're attacking the quarterback. They're attacking Jerred Schroeder. I'm telling you, any kind of a screen, middle screen, side screen, you know, they could have a play.
Well, they got to pick up 11 yards, Springfield does, if they're going to keep the football on this particular drive. So some good offensive plays, but some penalties have caused some problems for the Blue Devils. As we approach 4 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Split end to the left. Nicholas, the lone back in the backfield for Phil DeMars. This is Schroeder. Here's that quick hit across the middle. Matt Hall with the football and the first down. Nice play by the Springfield Blue Devils. Once again, when they're down on the last possible play to take, they come across the middle, Thomas, and that has been their game saver so far all night long.
You know what Northview has to do, Billy? They've got to move a safety up in that middle seam and take that away. Nice throw. You know how hard this is to throw this ball? This ball's got to be perfect, because if it's too high, it's tipped and picked off. If it's too low or underthrown, it's picked off. Jerred Schroeder does a great job delivering this football. And Matt Hall, I'll tell you what, I would be finding ways to get him the football on the outside, and he's you know, man on man.
He's on the sideline right now as he came up kind of gimping on that ankle, but I'm sure he will be back as Schroeder barks signals, hands off to Nicholas, still on his feet, and is finally, they're going to blow the play dead pretty much right back at the line of scrimmage. So that'll make it 2nd and 10. The ball is on the 15-yard line as Springfield has had this ball for a pretty long time on this particular drive. As back into the ball game, the hero for the moment, Spencer Warders, comes back in with the new play.
They tried to run a quick trap there, Billy, and get the fullback in the seam, but they had it blocked up.
Scrimmage, second down and 10.
This is Schroeder, looks for the pitch, keeps it himself, and is brought down by Charles Wynn. Nice recovery by Charles Wynn, fighting off the block from his defensive end position, and now Schroeder a little slow getting up as well, so the officials will stop the clock, and it looks like Mr. Schroeder is in some kind of pain, Thomas.
Yeah, it looked like his hand, but, you know, Jerred made a great play there. They ran the speed option, and he didn't string it out. He saw the crease, turned his shoulders up inside, and got what he could out of that. Looks like he may have injured his hand.
So they will attend to Mr. Schroeder as we check out the latest computer rankings here in Division I, Region 2, ranked number. Last week was Whitmer in 8th place. They've dropped to 9. Fremont Ross last week number 9. They still are in the top 10 in the 10th position. But Division 2, look at all the local teams involved in Division 2, Region 6. Rogers number 1 last week. They stay that way this week. Last week, Southview was number 8. They dropped 1 because they lost to the Maumee Panthers. St. Francis picked up 2 as they move up to 6 and 2 in the City League. Bowling Green still number 2 in the area. They remain that from last week. Central Catholic now 11th in the region, as Central Catholic making some noise to possibly get into the playoffs as well. Last week, Anthony Wayne started at 10th. They are now 8th. So a lot of very positive football here in Northwest Ohio, especially in Division 2. Good crowd on hand tonight as the Springfield Blue Devils come back. As Matt Hall, you want to put the ball in his hand. Well, you're going to now, because he's going to replace Jerred Schroeder right now at quarterback for Phil DeMars and the Springfield Blue Devils. I don't know if he can throw it to himself, but I'll tell you, there's a great defensive play by Charles Wynn right there at the last possible moment, was able to grab a shoestring as Matt Hall tried to get around the left end.
I had to tell you, it gives you an idea of the caliber of athlete and competitor that Matt Hall is. You know, some of the subtleties of the games that maybe people don't really appreciate sometimes. You know how hard it is to come off, you know, haven't taken a snap the whole game and come in and take the snap. I'm telling you, it's a lot tougher to do than you think.
Well, 4th and 7, the last couple times they've hit a slant to Matt Hall. That could be kind of impossible unless he passes it to himself, and that would be a first. Hall back to pass. Getting chased by Mr. Wynn. Avoids a couple tackles, but is finally brought down by the pursuit of the Northview Wildcats. Craig Catafias and number 9 also in on the tackle. That is Jeremiah Hahn. Jeremiah Hahn is a 5'9", 212-pound senior. So good defense right there by the Northview Wildcats, and the Springfield Blue Devils cannot capitalize on that interception by Warders a little bit earlier in the quarter.
Yeah, that sprint out right, and he got pressure from the front side. Really was no place for him to go with the ball. He cut back inside and did the best he could. He's a real talented athlete.
Greg Sparker got taken care of medically on the sideline. Back in to run things now for Eric Keller, as we've got a flag on the play. The give to Rusty Reinbold over the right side, and he picks up about 6 on the carry, but they're going to have a hold on the Northview Wildcats, so it is all for naught. Talking about some of the other games being played around Northwest Ohio here tonight, Thomas, and elsewhere in the NLL, we got Southview and Anthony Wayne. Anthony Wayne's just 1 game behind Bowling Green in the standings, and Southview 1 game behind Anthony Wayne by that upset win by Maumee. Perrysburg at Bowling Green. Perrysburg 5-0 in the league, and I should say Bowling Green 5-0 in the league. Perrysburg hasn't scored a point in the last 2 weeks, but has given up 84 points. So Ray Pullman and the gang out there trying to right the ship tonight. Rossford at Maumee. Maumee looking for their 2nd win in a row. As we said, they upset Southview last week. Over in the City League, St. John's is at Bowser. Bowser, we saw them last week. Boy, those kids play with a lot of heart, but they'll have their hands full with the Titans as they battle for a Hall of Fame berth. Libby will be at Woodward. Scott is at Rogers. St. Francis at Wade, and as you saw just a couple minutes ago, St. Francis and Rogers both looking for a playoff berth. Well, here at Northview, though, Charles Wynn continues what he does best and goes off right tackle. Picks up a couple yards, but that will still make it now 2nd and 20 as we approach 1 minute to go here in the 3rd quarter. It's 14-0. Northview on top of Springfield.
It's just a power eye, and it's just straight isolation, right? But, you know, what's interesting about that is, you know, Charles Wynn can convert the 3rd and 20 and 2nd and 20s.
Well, we'll see if he can now, because he has the football. And he moves the pile forward just about 2 or 3 yards short of the original line of scrimmage.
down by number 48, Ryan Lewis.
So that'll make it 3rd down and about 12 as we have about 30 seconds to go here in the 3rd quarter. A scoreless 3rd quarter after the Northview Wildcats scored 14 points in the first half behind a Charles Wynn 1-yard run and a sneak touchdown by Greg Sparka. 2 extra points by Ryan Schindler gets us to our 14-0 score, and it looks like the Wildcats will try to get one more playoff. Greg Sparka hustling Casey Cameron into the ball game. And they do get it off just under the gun. The give is to Wynn. And he gets into the backfield for the 1st down and a little bit more. What a great run by Charles Wynn, his longest run of the night. And Thomas, you called it. Sometimes if he just keeps those legs moving and you try to let him go, you got some problems. We'll come back and check the trip side. They obviously aren't going dancing, are they?
No, they're going to.
Takes too long. You just want to go out. You guys want to hit Hayes? Yeah. Now, when we twist, make sure you do on the twist. You come down hard.
So here come the Northview Wildcats. Sparka keeps the football. And with the help of some of his friends, gets up across the 40-yard line.
Brought down by Scott Maxey.
Quarterbacks tonight, Billy, are tough kids. You know, they don't mind turning their shoulders up and banging up inside. I mean, they really are tough kids, Sparka and Schroeder.
2nd down and 5.
Nice move right here by Sparka. And good effort right there by the junior quarterback. And here's a man who's had a couple good efforts tonight. This is Charles Wynn into the secondary, shoves off a couple tacklers, leaves them in his wake, and gets the 1st down. And we've got a Springfield Blue Devil down, a man who attempted to make that tackle. I believe it's Marquise Hayes. We can't see his number, but I believe it's number 6. And I tell you, he took a straight-on hit right there by Charles Wynn. And at this moment, Thomas, he paid the price.
Yeah, that's a tall order, I'll tell you what. You don't want to get Charles one-on-one in the secondary. I don't think that's a good situation, mentally or physically.
We're going to take a break as they attend to Marquise Hayes on the field here at Northview. It's 11:16 to go in the ball game, and the Northview Wildcats hold a 14-0 edge over the Springfield Blue Devils. We'll be a part of your night here on TV5 and the WB. Greg Sparka on a quarterback keeper picks up a 1st down with a 14-yard scamper. As we move toward 10.5 minutes to go here in the ball game, the Northview Wildcats continue to shut out the Springfield Blue Devils 14-0. Here's the give to Rusty Reinbolt. He gets into the secondary and is finally brought down by number 11, Scott McAfee, with the help of number 87, Tony Seasley, as well for the Springfield Blue Devils.
Billy, they're just running the dive off of the dive option, and Rusty got it that time. But you know, you can look at the body language on the Springfield defense. I really think there's the dive option. I really think they're getting worn out, and the body language isn't as strong.
So here come the Wildcats. This is the give to Nightingale, playing tailback right now. And oh, nice tackle, squared up, very nice right there. And a very nice tackle by number 32, Joey Thieves. 5'9", 172-pound junior, 3.55 grade point average. So performs well on the gridiron and does a pretty good job in the classroom as well. And Thomas, I tell you, I know you like offense, but this is a pretty good tackle defensive-wise.
Well, if you look tackle up in the dictionary, Joey's picture would be there. This is textbook. He drives through the runner and he wraps him up. I'll tell you what, that's a beautiful tackle by Joey.
It's tough to keep driving your legs when you're not touching the ground.
Yeah, really. That's a beautiful tackle.
So Sparka calling singles, ball on the 16-yard line. He keeps it again, tries to go around right end. And is finally brought down at about the 9-yard line. So the Northview Wildcats continue to pound the Springfield Blue Devils, looking for that 3rd touchdown. And Thomas, we talked about it in the 3rd quarter. Yeah. This is a must defensive stand, I would think, for Springfield.
The body language isn't good on defense, Billy. The Springfield kids have been game and fought hard all night, but they've just been pounded on by this big, strong back and this big, strong offensive line. And if this was a prize fight, they might be looking to throw the second to throw the towel in, and they're worn out.
Well, Charles Wynn back into the lineup, was getting his hamstring stretched on the sidelines the last couple of plays, and looks like it's stretched out pretty well as he gets it over the left end, puts his head down and dances into the end zone pretty much untouched for his second touchdown of the night and the third for the Northview Wildcats. It makes it 20-0 at this point with the extra point by Ryan Schindler just a couple seconds away. Boy, Thomas, even when you're keying on a guy like Charles Wynn and he can bounce outside to the point where he doesn't even get touched, that's pretty good running.
Well, you know, it was a great point last week. You know, our producer, Larry Jackman, was talking about body language last week. And I'll tell you what, football is a lot of body language, and you could just see that the Springfield kids, they fought hard tonight and they're very game, but the body language here in this the end of the third quarter has not start of the fourth quarter has not been good.
I tell you, you won't have any hamstring problems if you can run the football like this, because he gets great blocking up front.
If you look, Billy, there really is almost, there's nobody in the crease at all. You know, literally almost walks in.
We're going to catch our breath, take a break. 8:38 to go in the ball game. 21-0 Northview over Springfield. A pretty good night so far for the Springfield Blue Devils, and they are playing some football also. As we said, Anthony Wayne taking on Southview at Anthony Wayne, and right now we've been told Anthony Wayne with a 21-0 lead over the Cougars of Southview, and that will pretty much take the Southview Cougars out of the NLL championship race. But Anthony Wayne right in the thick of things as Ryan Schindler sends Marquise back into the end zone. And in high school football, once you break the goal line, you come out to the 20-yard line. So the Springfield Blue Devils will start on their own 20, trying to get on the scoreboard.
Billy, if I was on the kickoff team, I'd be taking Mr. Schindler to dinner every night.
I tell you, what a great kicker. We've seen him. We've seen Greg Blaine from Southview, a very good kicker. We've also seen Andy Klein from Anthony Wayne. And I'll tell you, we want to let people know that we're going to have some fun next week. During our ball game, we are going to be introducing you to our TV5 All-Stars, young men we thought have done a pretty good job during our high school football coverage this year. And with the help of Team Sports, they will be awarded plaques, and we'll introduce them to you next week during halftime of the St. John's-St. Francis football game, so you'll want to stay tuned for that. But we've got more football here from Northview, as Schroeder is going to be wrapped up and dropped by number 51 for the Northview Wildcats. Tom LaCourse comes through pretty much untouched, and the 5'10", 228-pound senior says hello to Mr. Schroeder, who we are glad to see is back into the ball game after that last little rep. Good crowd right there, as the Northview fans very, very happy the way things are going so far tonight.
Well, Jerred sprints out, and there's a committee meeting back, ad hoc committee meeting back in the backfield with Jerred, and it's tough playing quarterback when you're down 21-0 and everybody knows you have to throw.
Well, Tom LaCourse, the chairman of the board in that particular board meeting, and so that drops him back another 10 yards.